Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Her Business Podcast. I'm one half of the guys, Josh, and I'm doing today with my boy.
Ferris, what up, gang?
What's up, dude? What's up? This is it's ridiculous. We've been here for like a half hour, maybe 45 minutes in this fucking guys. You know,
Some technical difficulties, man. I'm known to have a couple here and there. I didn't
it's all
realize I
good.
pressed the mute button. I didn't realize, dog. My fault.
It's all good. Don't worry about it, dude. I'm just teasing you. But yeah, we're here today, man. We got UFC 297, man. Good and some mix conflicts with this card. Some W, some L's on the card. So we're just here to talk about it, share our opinions on the matter, and we're gonna get straight into it. So yeah, man, Sean Strickland versus Dricus Duplessis. Man, I mean, I was right on the outcome, but wrong about a lot of things in the fight. Just kind of going back briefly about what we talked about before the fight. There was a lot of talks about Duplessis and his cardio, his lack of cardio. Um, I don't by any means think this guy's like some cardio king or by any chance. He's not like a Colby Covington or in the matter with those guys, but I think he's definitely not given enough credit. I feel like, or he's lacking the credit I feel like he deserves in that department. I feel like he showed out in this fight, man. I feel like that was kind of what gave. I feel like that's kind of what won him the fight. Essentially, towards the end of the fight, we started to see that wrestling come out, which I thought was great strategically, man. I think
Mhm.
that this fight was a little bit one dimensional, and Sean was kind of winning those exchanges, especially in the first round. Sean was just very one dimensional with his combinations. Simple 1-2s. Never really
Combination.
threw Never really threw like leg kicks or anything like that. Duplessis, on the other hand, he threw some leg kicks here and there, and he was just very one dimensional with his striking as well. I feel like he was throwing the harder shots. Sean was throwing more of the touching shots, trying to, score on the for the judges, which is, apparent with his style, fight after fight after fight. And I feel like Duplessis, man, he played a championship fight, man. He played a smart fight. He mixed that in at the end with the wrestling. Although he didn't do much with the wrestling, I feel like he definitely mixed it in, and he won the judges over with that. The numbers don't quite reflect that, and I know a lot of people are thinking, yeah, Sean won the fight. He won the fight on the feet, but man, Duplessis won the fight overall. I feel like he just did more in every element of the fight. It's mixed martial arts, it's you have to include everything that goes on in the fight with the grappling, the wrestling, the striking, the damage, the volume, everything gets accounted in this game. It's not just like boxing where it's very one dimensional with the striking. Um, and I feel like Duplessis played that well, man, at the end of the fight, going in the fourth and the fifth, getting those takedowns and really mixing it up, getting the wrestling in. So I thought that was great. I thought it was smart.
Yeah.
And a lot of people felt different about this. So I'm curious, like, what you felt about the outcome and what did you think of the fight overall?
Overall, it was an alright fight.
Yeah.
It was an alright fight. Uh, I'm a little bit bitter about this one just because we chose opposite sides and you were
Yeah.
right on this one, so I'm a little bit bitter on that part. But I watching the fight, I thought Duplessis won. I thought he won 3 of the 5 rounds. Pretty
Right.
clearly he did. Um, but it was a close fight. Strickland looked really good in that first round, and it seemed like Duplessis was playing into Strickland's game plan for that first round, and then was just like, "What the fuck am I doing? Like, I'm just gonna fight my fight," and that's what he did.
Yeah.
He really turned it up. He won like the middle of the fight undoubtedly, maybe 2, 3, and 4.
Hmm.
And that 5th round, Sean's just a madman. One thing I didn't like was Sean coming out after the fight talking about a headbutt that nobody else seen. Nobody else seen.
Yeah.
And it's a fight, like, damage is gonna happen, so it coulda came from an array of different strikes, it coulda came from anywhere.
Yeah.
Headbutt is not one that I particularly noticed in the fight. I don't know if you did, but I
No, not particularly. It happens, I guess, like, so it's in the moment, right? He probably goes back. He's probably like, yeah, I was just chatting shit.
yeah.
Even that. I hate like when fighters, and I like Sean Strickland, but I hate when fighters I hate when fighters after they get into that post-fight interview and they're like, "Oh yeah, congratulations, this guy won fair and square. I think I won the fight." It's like that's so like
Yeah,
that
he
doesn't even make
contradicts
sense.
himself. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't even make sense. Like, why would you go and congratulate him and then say you thought you won the fight? I thought that was a little weird.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, overall, I think the fight could have been a lot better. I feel like Sean looked a little odd after the first round. I feel like he just didn't fight the same. I feel like he just wasn't as aggressive as he could have been. Um, I think the best way you fight Duplessis is making sure he's not shooting for any takedowns, right? Like
Yeah.
that was the biggest reason why Sean lost. He gave up too much time with the takedowns and just time on the fence. I feel like backing the guy up, he looked phenomenal doing that. And like I said, it was just all being one dimensional, man. Like no leg kicks, like
Yeah.
nothing to mix it up. It was just the striking. Duplessis figured out a way to get around that, like you said. It just fought his game. And I feel like that was the biggest reason why the judges picked Duplessis to win it. They could have easily went with either guy, right? But Duplessis mixed it up, like I said. He didn't look one dimensional at all. And he just added new elements to the fight that would get him rounds, essentially. Not the most exciting, right? But it gets the job done, like I said. I said it. I was like, it's not going to be that exciting of a fight. Like Duplessis is going to wrestle him, and that's what's going to happen. So, it's funny that the worst part of Duplessis' game is the reason he won. People say his cardio is so shit. His cardio looked phenomenal.
Yeah, it showed out.
First time in a 5-round fight too. Well, going to the 5th round, I should say. So,
fighting for that long in one period of time for sure on a big stage. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was such a close fight. A lot of people, not that many people, honestly, I've noticed, were on the internet claiming robbery.
No.
Pretty even. I must say though, after watching this fight, I sat back and I know I texted you this. I miss when your boy Izzy was just running through all these contenders, man. I miss when it was just like the Izzy show and it was just clean. I felt like this fight was so sloppy, and Izzy was just like at the peak of his run, he was making all these finishes look so clean and effortless. And one day he'll get a lot more appreciated than he is today.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, I miss his run. I miss when he was reigning this division supreme, and now Duplessis is our champion.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah,
we'll see.
He called out Izzy.
He did call Izzy. I did like that call out. I was watching Izzy's YouTube channel, and it was funny. They were all laughing. They were laughing at Sean. They were like, "Man, what a range Sean Strickland had with that belt, huh?" This is like, oh, come on, man. That's so petty, man.
It's so petty.
But it's just so funny, man, to see like Izzy's just on his couch watching the guy that essentially was like, dude, I'm gonna fight you for the belt. And then the other dude is the guy that beat Israel Adesanya. So it's funny to see that conflict. And then, Duplessis finally calling out Izzy, which is really exciting. I think that's definitely the next fight that happens. Although a lot of people were a little like, come on, man. Like Izzy took some time off. He's just, he hasn't really been that active since he lost to Sean Strickland. Like this makes no sense for Izzy to come back in and fight Duplessis with him being out so long and the fact that fight was so close between Strickland and Duplessis. So what do you think about that? I'll say first that I think that's
you can't ask
bullshit.
Me what I think and then answer the question.
No. I'm giving my opinion. But no, this is just for the people though. This is just for people listening. I'm giving my opinion, and then I'm curious about yours. So I think personally, people talking about that, I think it's bullshit. I don't think Izzy has been out long enough to the point where people wouldn't even consider him a challenger for this fight. I do agree that it's a little odd, his placement in the fight, where he just lost to Strickland and Strickland barely lost to Duplessis. So it's like, why not just run Duplessis and Strickland back? And then on the contrary, you got Rob Whitaker and Paulo Costa who's fighting. So they're pretty much booked up. So there's really nobody. I mean, you got Hamza Chimaev, but I don't know if he's really deserving of a middleweight championship fight, right? So it really is only Izzy, Duplessis, and Strickland in the mix So it's a weird scenario, right? Like I said, but I don't know. I can see where, like I said, I can see where people would be upset. Okay, yeah, Izzy's just jumping in after being out for so long, and he just got TKO'd by Sean Strickland, and Sean Strickland barely lost to Duplessis. So why not just run them back? Like, why does Izzy get to jump in? So I understand that, but then, like I said, Izzy is this man's record is just insane, man. Like, there's no reason you could deny Izzy a title fight again against Duplessis. The storyline is great.
Yeah.
You could headline it in Africa, which is phenomenal.
That'd be
This
nuts.
man has had 11 title fights, 11 title wins. Like, this is like, you can't deny this guy the belt. You know what I mean? This isn't some Joe Schmo coming out the block, like out of the woodwork, just fighting for a title. Like, this is a known guy. Like, that doesn't make sense. But like I said, I do understand both sides. But if for whatever reason, I don't know if this is even possible, this would happen, Strickland fights him again, I wouldn't hate it. But I would love to see this fight with Izzy. There's a lot. I said a lot there.
It's all good. Great points. Great points. But I'll simplify everything you said by saying one line to answer your question. Who else in this division, other than Izzy, do you want to see in a title fight?
Nobody. I mean, it's
nobody else, and that's not you being a
thinking,
biased fan. That's me being.
Yeah,
I don't really care enough about any of these middleweights. I'm not invested in any of these guys.
Nah, no,
there's nobody else. There's nobody else. Like, yeah, Strickland. It'll be a fun one to throw Strickland back in there with Duplessis. But Strickland didn't have 11 title defenses or 11 straight title fights. He didn't do all these incredible things. He's not. I thought Izzy should have got a rematch right after he lost to Strickland, but
notice how I said TKO.
Yeah, I did notice that, and that's why I was like, "What? He didn't get TKO'd? Come on, man!" But yeah, if ever to do a rematch, it was then, man. It was
close.
Was it?
It was pretty close.
I don't know. It was a good shot. I'm sure you've seen it. Myself, I've seen it a million times into lead up to 297. So
we'll talk about other almost TKOs on this card.
Oh man,
but
oh man, but yeah, other than Izzy, there's nobody else for Duplessis at the moment. That Vittori, not Vittori, what's his name? Costa Whitaker fight. That's a fun one. That's happening at 298 next month. That's a fun ass fight.
Yeah,
but if Rob wins, and it's like, I feel like Izzy. But then, what's his name wins? Paulo Costa. Izzy with both of these dudes. So it's like, what are we really doing here? But I know you're loving this. All right. Yeah, man.
It can go either way, man.
Yeah,
the fans want to see Izzy.
Let's move on, man. Let's move on to this the best fight of the evening, the women's bantamweight strap. Raquel Pennington finally cashing in on her dream and becoming the women's champion. How fucking awesome was that, huh?
The sarcasm in your voice.
What you mean? I mean,
I'm happy for her. I'm
very,
very happy for her, man.
The OG of the game.
She's a super OG. I'm glad she got to cap that off in her career. That's really nice to see. But was that fight nice to see?
With that being said, and I'm genuine when I say this.
Yeah.
I'm not even trying to make funny, be a joke. I fell asleep, man, for the night. Like, I was gone. After the third round, it was over for me for the evening. The evening. I didn't see her get crowned. I didn't see a minute of the Strickland fight on Saturday night at all.
Yeah.
So that happened.
Yeah, it was a snoozer, man. I'm gonna be honest. It was pretty bad to see.
Bueno Silva she warned us in that presser. She was like, all your fights are snoozers, and she
proved us right, man. She's not a liar, man. But also, she didn't really do much in this fight either, man. It was a pretty one-sided affair for the most part. Just boring, man. A lot of wrestling, a lot of grappling, some blood a little bit, but like just wasn't enough to be entertaining for me, man. It's and not that these women bouts suck. Like, there's some great women bouts that go on. There's a lot of them that I like. It was just like some of the matchups with the woman, just like on paper, it just looks so nice, but then they go out there and they just make it so boring. I don't know what it is. It was just so boring. It was such a boring fight. Um, so I wish I had more to report on this. We all seen it. There's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
not much to say here. You know, it was just a wrestling submission. Like this could have easily just been like a like those grappling FC. What is that league called? It's I
grappling
don't
theory.
even. Yeah, it could have been like we could have seen this on Grappling Fury. You know what I mean? And it would have been that much more entertaining. I feel like because it's strictly grappling.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
the part of the podcast where I'm just absolutely
yeah,
shitting for no reason.
yeah.
But
For no reason. Let's just push past this, man. Let's push past this. The more exciting things. Uh,
yeah,
the welterweight matchup between Canada's own Michael Malott. A lot of hype behind this kid. We talked about him. We both picked him. I mean, he was probably the lock of this card in his hometown. All finishes 10-1,
yeah,
fighting Neil Magny, who's really like all respect to Neil Magny. Like the guy's a legend in the sport, but like like in this stage of his career, he's just a journeyman. Like he's telling us how good these young guys are. And he told us just what Mike Malott's about. And Mike
yeah.
Malott was controlling every minute of that fight
Oh my
until
god.
like minute 13.
Yeah.
Until and like there was a point where he was on his back and Magny was just doing ground and pound, and Malott was defenseless. And
You know what I mean?
it wasn't like he got hit with a massive shot or like was hurt at any point. He was just winded. And when Magny like reversed the position, he just finished the fight,
Yeah.
man. That's all she wrote.
Yeah. I couldn't even imagine what goes on through a fighter's mind in those moments where it's like
Yeah.
he knows for a fact this fight is a lock. I don't know if that plays into it. Like maybe he's like, all right, I can survive here. I'm not really sure what to do. That was a deep, deep mount, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like there was no way this guy was getting out of that
Right.
by any means. Like it doesn't matter how good you are on the ground. That mount was serious, man. And Neil Magny, he just handed it to him. Like I said, I don't know what the hell was going on through his mind at that moment. Maybe it was to survive. Um, I'm not sure, but he was taking some serious shots, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it
Good
seemed and
stoppage.
credit to Neil Magny too, man, because a lot of those takedowns, man, in the fight, Magny was on one leg for a majority of those. Like he was no easy guy to take down by any means. Granted, he did get a few of them, but he was hard to take down, man. And Mike was relentless. He was really going for him. Um, but yeah, it's unfortunate, man. He locked in those two, basically locked in 3 rounds. Like let's put it that way. He locked in
Yeah.
3 rounds, no problem. But then just lost, man. Right at fucking no time left on the
Yeah.
clock, basically.
It was so sad too at the end of the fight. He like laid on the ground for
Yeah,
minutes. Like he like even after the ref raised Magny's hand, like he's still down there. So I was so
it's
sad to see, man.
so defeated, man. Like
Yeah,
this is a guy he
that was
was.
tough.
This is a guy he's supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
Like Magny's like he's the gatekeeper of the welterweight division. Essentially, he's like the
Yeah,
Derek
like a
Brunson.
journeyman. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the Derek Brunson for the welterweights. Like he's the one that's supposed to stop these incoming guys. He's supposed to show these guys what this top 15 is like. And I feel like Magny is the perfect person for that because he's not the worst fighter in the world, but he just hasn't really proven himself against like the top 10 or the top 5. You know, he's always fallen short there, but he's no easy slouch, right?
Not
But
at all. Not at all. He's an
tough
OG, man. OG.
tough fight for Mike, man. But big credit to Neil Magny,
Yeah.
man. Way to finish that. Way to get
Main
that mount
game.
secured. And yeah, good stuff. I
Speaking
like
of
it.
OG, Chris Kurt, our guy, man. I think you had Chris Kurt, right? You chose him?
I chose Chris. Yeah.
Yeah, we both chose Chris Kurt. Never go
Man.
against Chris Kurt. Oh man, I can say so much about this guy. His style is so fun to me. It seemed like he walk on lava, like he's like tiptoeing around the
Hmm.
octagon, landing insane hooks. And yeah, he just he was on Ariel's show today as we're recording this on Monday evening, talking about the commentary and how biased they were and how unimpressed they were about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Looked like a sparring match, and I didn't feel that way. I was not watching with the commentary, and I didn't listen to this live. But I didn't think it was a boring fight. Did you?
No, I didn't think it was a boring fight, but I think the commentary, the place that they're coming from is these two guys' styles just didn't like they're supposed to clash, right? Like I even hyped it up as that, we all expected these guys to go head and toe, which they did at the end of the fight, the third round. But that first and second round was Mark just backing up. He was on his back foot basically the whole fight. I don't know if his plan was to tire Chris out and then unleash in the third round. I don't know what the game plan was there, but that is not how this guy fights at all. Like, if you go back and watch this guy's fight, he is relentless, man. He's in people's faces. So I don't know if he just thought, like, man, maybe this won't work against Chris. So let me kind of, play the passive game, and which he did pretty well for the most part. But then Chris was just landing heavy shots, man. He was landing heavy body shots. I love the way he rips the body, man. He's so clean with those combinations. He was just landing much cleaner shots and at a better rate. And he was the one pressing Mark. That's like the biggest thing. He was controlling the center of the octagon. He was always chasing him. And I feel like that's the reason why Mark lost. But yeah, it was a split decision or a decision. It wasn't unanimous, right? Like,
no, it was split. Yeah, you're right. It was.
Yeah, that's insane, man. Like this guy, he was landing, but he was backing up pretty much the whole fight.
Yeah, he was almost running backwards at some points.
But that third round was beautiful. That was just like I feel like I was watching like Mike Tyson in his prime, like just bullying guys, man. What, man? That was like a classic boxing match at the end. That was so fun to watch.
It was. That's Chris Curtis's style, man. That's like the body work, the just short shots on the inside.
That's what we thought we were gonna see for the first and second.
But Mark was running the opposite direction, man. And Chris Kurt was really like making it known that he was running away. He was like backing up, like pointing at the center. He was making, which is an OG, like a really veteran move if you're thinking about it. Like let the judges know, like I'm trying to fight this guy, but he just keeps going the opposite way.
Nah, I agree. But great fight, great win for Chris.
Yes, sir.
Another guy that they thought Chris was gonna lose to. But he came out on top, man. The dogs are here, man. The dogs are here this night.
Dogs are here, man. The dog. Well, that was a favorite. Chris was a favorite. And just Vegas speaking,
Yeah, just Vegas.
Speaking of favorites that came to win, I know you love this fight because I sure did, and I know we share great featherweight fights. We both enjoy these 45ers going at it.
This was a fucking good. This was a phenomenal fight, man. I had a lot of fun watching this.
Yeah.
Man, Arnold Allen, he's a tough guy, man, and so is Movsar, man. He's tough as nails.
Yeah.
That first, this was another controversial one, man. And we'll kind of get into that, but that first round, man. I mean, jeez, man, 5 takedowns. Man, he wasn't doing much with the takedowns. Granted,
what you were gonna start with. I knew it, bro. You were making it seem like on our last show, like this guy, like Arnold Allen, is nothing for Movsar's takedowns. And at some point, that's how it felt. So
no, Allen's no easy slouch for sure, but Movsar is a beast, and I don't remember any time Arnold Allen's been taken down 5 times in one round. I'm gonna be honest, I've never seen that happen. But like I said, you have to give credit where it's due. Arnold Allen got up every single time. Like there was nothing pretty much to those takedowns, but as I mentioned earlier, man, like judges don't really look at that, man, with like Drickus and Sean Strickland, man. Like those takedowns, man, they matter, man. It changes the trajectory of the fight, man. If your opponent's not doing much, I feel like there's some controversy behind that. And I think that I've always been indifferent about this subject, but I feel like if you're able to keep your opponent down and they can't do anything, I feel like that's a skill in itself. And I mentioned that because there were fights in the past that were a little salty. I was a little salty about, with Wei Li and Rose Namajunas. Rose was able to keep her down, man, and I was salty about it, but that's a skill in itself, man, to incapacitate your opponent, I feel like. So Movsar did that 5 times in one round. Arnold Allen got up every time. Clean first round. And then that second round, I
It's
feel like
interesting.
that was an interesting second round. I feel
Yeah,
like Mobstar got that round,
for
in
sure.
my opinion. I feel
Yeah.
like he was landing more of the volume, not so much of the heavier shots, but he was landing a little bit more volume than Arnold Allen, which I feel like the judges like. They love an active fighter. But they also love a fighter that looks beat up.
Mm.
That's a good sign, man. Arnold Allen didn't look too beat up. So I feel like that second round was going towards Mofsar. And then we get into
Hold on.
go ahead, go
Before
ahead.
that second round, there was a moment where Arnold started wearing serious damage, though.
Yeah,
That like
that's why I was
that combination by Mosfire was so fucking clean.
yeah.
He caught Arnold Allen on the way in with a jab. Uh, Arnold Allen like buckled a little bit, got back to like as soon as he repositioned himself, he got cracked with an
Mhm.
overhand right, cracked, and like it was just an insane sequence, and that for me was like the deciding factor. All right, Mosfire gets this round, but to the third
Yeah.
round,
Yeah, so then we get to the third round, and man, this is where things got very interesting, man. We have a lot of exchanges on the feet with Allen and Mavsar. We got Mavsar going backwards a little bit. I feel like he feels like, he secured the fight a little bit, this third round. Not not that he's letting off the gas a little bit, but I feel like he was letting his guard down a little bit. And man, he was eating some knees from Arnold Allen, man. Very, very tough knees. And I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube, Twitter. Um, credit to some guys. I forget one of the guys' names, but another guy's name is the Weasel. He pretty much covered that well, man. He had so many angles of Mavsar's hand, his palm being on the ground. And the rule is, man, John McCarthy rule, man, is if your palm is on the ground, you are you're it's a legal strike. You can throw those knees. But if his palm is above the ground. So he had the fingers on the ground.
right?
He didn't
No
have
problem.
he had no clean hand on the ground. Those were some legal knees,
Those were
man.
legal knees. I
Those were
thought so
legal
too.
knees.
I thought so too. In the moment though, I was like, "What the?" Yeah, I was like, "Wait, you can't do that," because like you just see his
Yeah.
extended, and you're
You
like,
just
"All
see
right,
the
it's
arm, man.
down," and then
And
you
it's
see him
tough.
bleeding, and you're
Yeah.
like,
Dude, his
"Holy
ear
fuck!"
popped.
Yeah, it's like, did that just persuade the fight in a whole different direction?
Yeah. It was tough, man. And like I said, it's in the moment, it's hard to like decide those factors like,
Mm,
okay, you just see an arm on the ground. Yeah, that's illegal. But it's hard to just like kind of, it's not like NBA where it's like, all right, timeout.
right.
Let's fucking roll the footage. You know what I mean? It's a lot harder in this sport. So they saw the arm, and I wouldn't say it's the worst decision they made, but it definitely changed the trajectory of this fight. He could have got a finish there easily.
Yeah, yeah, they did stop the fight. You're right.
Easily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did stop the fight for a second. They didn't take away a point, which I thought was a great move on the refs end. I
Yeah.
can't remember his name, but it's one of the UK refs who are always in the big fights, and they always hold it down. I think they're one of the
Yeah,
best
yeah.
in the game. Can't remember their name, but yeah, it definitely put a pause to the fight.
Yeah.
Allen didn't put up no fight either. He was just like, all right, whatever. He
Yeah.
wasn't like, oh, those were legal or anything like that until after
Mhm.
the fight. But then what did you think about Mosfart's response to the knees?
I thought it was he played it well, man. He's
Yeah,
just like, fuck it, man. Like
yeah,
I got fucked up, but I'm still here, baby. Like, I like that man. He's a warrior, man. That's what it comes down to. He's not like some guys who are just like they stand on the ground and they sit there for the rest of the fight and then they collect the belt. They actually get up and I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
I mean,
I was going somewhere with that.
yeah, I know you were, but you said it at the beginning of this. You were like that holding guys down is a skill in itself, which I completely agree with, but it would have contradicted that
No,
statement.
I meant the knees. I was making an algebra.
You can clown all you want, man. Go Calvin.
No, but Mozart answered the best way he knew how to do. So
Yeah,
um, I think he easily secured that fight, but
sure.
it just came down to whether if they never called that, like this guy would have been done. So like, there's no
Yeah,
reason you don't call that fight with that many knees. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah.
tough guy, man. Tough fighter. Tough fight. Really good fight.
Mm.
Um,
And
I would
also
love to see. Yeah, go ahead.
And it also led me to think like Allen's been in there with some tough dudes, and nobody hurt him. Like this
Yeah.
guys have dragged him into deep waters, and he's really like held his own. But nobody, there's never been a guy where I'm like, holy fuck, is Alan about to get knocked out here? Like, is
Yeah.
until most fighters. So I thought that
Yeah.
was incredible. And then the future, like what's next for most fighters? Like, is this guy world championship material? He
Who
might
knows,
be.
man?
He might
Yeah,
be.
he's tough, man. I'm telling you, he's
Might
a
be.
tough fighter
I mean, Max Holloway when it like was in there for 25 minutes with Allen,
with this
and Max
dude.
is
Yeah.
no power puncher or wrestler, so it's different
Yeah.
styles, different fight, but he spent 25 minutes in there with it.
Yeah. It's
So
tough, man. It was tough. Great fight. Excited to see where Mosfar goes from here, man. I mean, still undefeated. Like that's crazy. What if he becomes a champion? He's undefeated.
he
But
could.
we know who's at that top, man. It's tough. It's a tough top five, man. Those guys are stacked in there. So
Stacked. Volk got his hands full, man. All these different
Volk got his
styles
hands
too.
full,
Like
yeah.
Ilya got like this and that. This guy can
Oh
wrestle.
yeah.
You got strikers. You have
Oh yeah.
kickboxer. You got oh
Yeah, but ooh.
yeah, we're good. All right, bro. Anything
Tough
else on
fight,
this?
man.
Anything else on this card that you're like, wow, what a
I
fucking
lo-
fight this was?
I not what a fight this was, but I did like that Jean Blachowicz versus Alexander Rakic fight, man. That I thought it was an excellent fight. Even Dominic Reyes versus Carlos Uberg, I thought it was a great
What on
fight.
earth are you looking at right now?
I'm just naming the canceled fights.
Yeah, those were on this card. Holy shit!
Yeah, those were like on the card. That was crazy. This
Yeah.
would have been an insane card.
Overall, though, I've never asked you this question. Overall, what would you rate this pay per view?
I guess it was 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
That was a 7 out of 10. It wasn't the best pay per view.
Yeah, I think it was underwhelming as well. I would probably go as like a 6-2.
6-2.
Yeah, like there's not many of these fights that I'd rewatch. There was some like the Arnold Allen, Chris Curtis is like an iffy rewatch. There's more entertaining Chris Curtis fights.
Yeah.
This is definitely rewatchable for Arnold Allen.
Yeah, for sure.
Strickland fight was a rewatchable. Raquel's fight was a rewatchable.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like some good fights on the main card. I did before we wrap it up, I did watch the Charles Jourdain and Shad Winston fight, which was pretty good. I went with Charles just because I thought, like, you know, he's the more explosive fighter. He's quicker. I thought he would get it done. I thought he'd get the job done, but Sean was just on one. He was just on one this fight, man.
He really was.
Man, he wasn't missing a shot out there. He had a high rate, which was telling. You know, Charles Jourdain is the shorter fighter, so he didn't really have to do much. But I didn't think he would really not have to do much because this is no slouch, man. Like, Charles is a good fighter, but Sean made it look so easy, man. It was so effortless. He was stuffing every takedown. He was on one leg practically the entire time. Like kind of like Neil Magny. It was similar, man. It was, but worse.
Yeah.
Like, this guy had no chance.
I thought it was crazy that Charles was actually shooting. I'm like, this is
desperation.
Yeah, 100%. Is this how bad you're getting beat on the feet where you're like, I got to take it down, and you're a kickboxer?
Yeah, but it's good game plan because the striking wasn't working. He couldn't figure out the distance.
Yeah.
You know, so
I mean,
you have to go to another. Because like at that point you have to figure something out. That late in the fight, you got to figure something to work. But I didn't think he would stick to the submission that long. I thought he would just kind of mix it up and then, you know, explode into a right hook, which he's done. He did a couple times, like, which I thought was fantastic, but Sean was just, like I said, Sean was just on one. He figured everything out, and he had the whole game plan figured out. Didn't lose a minute of this fight.
How about that straight confusion at the end with Bruce Buffer? And now,
that was bad.
Bruce was on point. That wasn't a Bruce fault. That was just the arena being too loud and everybody being confused. Bruce was on point. I listened back like a few times, and he said Sean Woodson, and then Sean's like, "Fuck, man." Walking away. It's like, wait, bro, you just won. Where you going?
No, but it sounded
he's like, what are you doing?
For whatever reason, it sounded like Charles, though. Like, I don't know what I have to watch it back. But Charles instantly celebrated.
He did.
And then Sean was like, fuck, man. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell? Like, come on, what the hell are you guys watching? Like,
Yeah.
you clearly won this fight. And
Agreed.
then he was so relieved to figure out that he actually won the fight. I thought that was pretty funny. That was a
And
funny moment.
deservingly so. I do agree with you. I thought
Yeah,
he won almost like all 3 rounds, and he was
pretty
throwing
much.
like he was
Yeah.
had these weird feints and just like different movements. I was
He's a
like, "What
weird
is
dude,
this?"
man.
But it was effective.
Yeah, it works, man. I mean, he's phenomenal, man. I'm excited to see where another featherweight, man, just another beast. Um, Tall guy. I feel like he's the tallest guy in featherweight right now. Um, yeah, I'm excited to see where he goes to, man. He's a great fighter, and he's got amazing takedown defense, man. Like he's so defensively sound, it's insane. So I'm excited for this guy's future, and good win by him, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's a
Well,
tough fighter in his hometown.
that's facts, man. The Canadians didn't they were like 0-7, the Canadian males
Oh yeah, they were down
did not
rough.
show out. Did not show out, but win some, you lose some, man. And
Is
that was
what it is.
what it is. All right, real bad man. Appreciate the time, brother. Listeners, thank you so much. If you made it to this part of the podcast, please subscribe to us on YouTube, rate us 5 on Spotify, Apple. Go check out my interview with Faraz Zahabi. I'll promote that bitch until my grave. That shit's my favorite of all time. And also, I have a Pete Luciani interview dropping really, really soon. I shot one in person at the mom's basement last Saturday. It was a fucking time, Josh. That like this dude Connor made his mom's basement, the basement in his mom's house, a full gym.
That's
Talking
so awesome.
heavy bags, like mats for like opening grappling. They got a fucking cage in there, bro. A full cage. And so yeah,
We should pull up, man. I'll beat your ass in there.
yeah, you think so? These dudes would
Yeah.
love that shit if we jumped in there. They would love it. But yeah, so I got a Pete Luciani interview dropping very, very soon. So stay tuned for that, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace out.